Daniel is skirting the line with that delirium, though, with the woman he recognizes as Oma. They had previously met when it came to the subject of ascension, and it seems now might be a good time to learn.
Release your burden.
Okay, we'll consider it released. What's step 2?
A tall man cannot hide in the short grass.
Wait, what if he was lying down? Wouldn't that work? Daniel says he really doesn't have time to navigate the explosion in a fortune cookie factory that is this conversation, but she says enlightenment can't be found by running away from death, which I suppose is probably right, although I would think pending death would be a really great sharpener of the mind. Well, while this is going on, O'Neill remains at Daniel's side, but is rather surprised to see General Hammond escort Jonas in. Jonas has come with all the naquadria that he could get his hands on, because the readings have come in on the weapon's potential, and whoo boy, this is one powerful little firecracker. When he saw the leadership all high-fiving each other over just how apocalyptically dangerous this weapon is, he realized that he couldn't let them have it. That's why he brought us here. In a flashback, Jonas discusses things with Daniel, that while the translation book he gave Jonas will help, Jonas is far more interested in the possibilities of what lies beyond the Stargate. Daniel says, though, that what's out there makes the problem with their planet seem mundane, the naquadria being a prime example. If the Goa'uld caused the devastation 10,000 years ago by accident, imagine what using this thing deliberately could do. Case in point, the disaster that is happening just on the other side of that glass. Oh, I hope you guys froze your sperm or you're going to wind up with kids with 10 arms. The device is going to explode, so Daniel bursts his way inside, heads over to it, and shuts it down before it can kill everybody. Hence how he got that fatal dose. He didn't sabotage them, he saved them. And rather than admit it, they'd made him the villain so that they continue with their experiments. What a bunch of dicks. Back in Hallucination World, Daniel reflects on things and says that if he's being honest, though, his life is a failure. Even this act right here only delayed things. He didn't stop them from working on the project. His death merely delayed inevitable self-destruction. This might be why he feels this way about himself, that in the end everything he achieved was only a stopgap, a failure in academia, and bringing humanity into a game that it might wind up losing, when even their victories only paved the way for another, worse enemy to turn its eyes towards Earth. Take the Hathor incident, for example. His best intentions wound up nearly giving a Goa'uld invader a foothold with which to enslave the entire human race. Wanting to do the right thing can often lead to things going wrong. It's thus something of a relief for Carter to tell Daniel what Jonas has done.
You have an effect on people, Daniel. The way you look at things, it changed me too.
You're pulling the flesh from my bones! After Carter says her goodbye, Teal'c comes by with a totem that Daniel had once given him, meant to help a trip through the afterlife. So it's pretty timely, I guess. Teal'c says his piece about how much Daniel has helped the cause, and how good their friendship really is. Clearly, despite Daniel's own doubt about his sense of worthiness, everyone around him thinks highly of his character. But he still looks down upon himself. Discovering the means of working the Stargate, that was merely finding the last piece of a puzzle that had practically been solved by others, taking the glory from their sweat and tears. And he helped free Abydos, sure, but couldn't leave well enough alone and unburied the gate, causing all the problems that came with that. She says his problem is measuring himself by successes or failures rather than choices and efforts. Yeah, he screwed up, like a lot, like, wow, that one time, wow, what a cosmic donkey show that was. But, you did try to do the right thing. It is Daniel's optimism that is one of his strongest traits, which is what has likely inspired Jonas into action, as he believes in his people. They aren't monsters. His people are just ignorant of what their leaders are doing. And even the leaders aren't monsters. They only look at this weapon because they see no viable alternative to defending their nation from outsiders who want to conquer them. He's hoping that Earth can resolve the problem by giving them true defensive technology, so that it doesn't matter if the other nations develop weapons of mass destruction, they could never harm their nation. At least not with weapons. But words hurt, damn it. Words can hurt. Jacob arrives, finally answering the call, in the hopes of being able to save Daniel with the healing device. But it looks bad. Even he's not sure Daniel can be saved at this point. But he'll try. Except when Daniel realizes it, he wonders if that's what he wants, or if he should complete this journey that he's on.
Walking the great path brings great responsibility.
Yes, I learned that from Spider-Man. So Daniel has decided that he wants to join her, attain enlightenment, and all that spiritual crap. And so he'll need to tell them to stop.
Daniel. Yeah. Did you want something?
I'm going to go out on a limb and guess this out-of-body experience is for an important reason. Daniel explains that he needs Jacob to stop, but that he's not giving up. The opposite, in fact. So O'Neill passes along the message, and to their amazement, Daniel turns into a creature of light right there in the infirmary. It's kind of ironic that a man who has fought false gods has, in a way, become one. Meridian is a must-see. It introduces us to the character of Jonas and is an enormously important part of the character of Daniel Jackson. I give it a stamp of recommended. It has character and has depth to it, and it moves rather than getting bogged down, as could easily happen in an episode like this. Helped along, no doubt, by the secondary plot involving Jonas, to allow breaks in the emotional elements with stuff that is more meaty. How they chose to go about it is a natural conclusion to the character journey, and the way they stopped and looked at it was excellent. Daniel examines himself and sees failure, but in the end, his last act was to selflessly save people, to show that he does not deserve ascension because he is wise, but because, however flawed he might be, his heart is in the right place. It allowed his departure to be seen as not moving on, but rather taking a new form to do the same old thing, an evolution rather than merely a transformation or abandonment. It also allows Daniel to live up to his role as a scholar by taking it to the conclusion of a journey to attain ultimate knowledge. It may have been controversial at the time because it was perceived that removing the O'Neill-Jackson dynamic was ripping out the heart of the show. But I think if you move past those emotions from that time, the significance and power of the journey really shines through.
The river tells no lies. Though standing on the shore, the dishonest man still hears them.